man was a bona fide scrub.
On today's episode, the Warriors are NBA champions, Noah. Steph Curry secures his fourth ring and first finals MVP. We'll talk about what that means for his legacy and where he ranks currently amongst the best players in the NBA. We'll also discuss the poor performance of Jayson Tatum and whether or not Boston can ever make it back to the finals and more. Alongside Noah Levine, I'm Will Swankie. Welcome to episode 5 of the or is it episode 6 of the Bona Fide Scrubs. I always used to mess that up back with the old show. I always got the episode number wrong.
Yeah, it was
You're gonna say something.
Yeah, it was a little vacation since we did not record on Tuesday. We were waiting for the finals to wrap up. We were kind of lucky because if there was a Game 7, we would have had to prepare for a Game 7, but the Warriors are champions, as you mentioned. There is no Game 7. Just as I predicted, Curry's gonna win his 4th championship in Boston, just like how he won his first on the road in Cleveland. And it was a great story, and the Warriors played fantastic the last 3 games to win the series.
Yep, we got so many things right about this series. I got to pat ourselves on the back. I got the number of games right. Your X factor was Andrew Wiggins, which we'll get into in a minute. He played amazing throughout the series. But yeah, the Warriors are finally champions. My favorite player, Steph Curry, gets his 4th ring, so I get a little victory lap here. It's the closest thing I've gotten to the Knicks winning a championship. At least my favorite player is successful. I could just count on that every year, but the Knicks will always be bad. This game was an interesting game because it seemed like Boston had the intensity to start off with. They got out to a big run. I think they were up 12-2 at the beginning of the game. It looked like they were ready at home to set the tone, to tie the series, to make it go 7. And then the Warriors did something historic. They went on a 21-0 run in the second quarter, which is the biggest run in an NBA Finals game, or even playoff game in the last 50 years. The only one that came close was the Warriors in 2019 that went on a 20-0 run in the finals. So they responded very well to Boston there and did not let the game get away from them, and were up big at halftime. I mean, they had a huge lead. They pretty much didn't give it up for the whole rest of the game. The Celtics did have a nice run in the third quarter to cut it to 10, but ultimately the Warriors kept their foot on the gas. They did not let the Celtics come all the way back, and they end up getting the win. Some interesting things from the last show, Noah, that I noticed about Steph Curry. Number one, it seems like the consensus across all the platforms we uploaded this video on is that people think Steph Curry is better than Magic Johnson, and that was before they even won. So it seemed like on Instagram, I mean, these videos, our YouTube videos don't get that many views, but across Instagram, I mean, that video has like 7,000 views. That's pretty good for us. On YouTube, the short has about 1,500. And out of all these people, it seems like they all think Steph Curry is better than Magic Johnson, which in that video, I say he's not, and we read all the accomplishments and everything, but I guess the conversation gets closer now after they win, but I just don't see how people could think that at all. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, you listed off all the accomplishments. Curry still has 1 less ring, 2 less Finals MVPs, and I think Magic has 1 more regular season MVP. I think so.
Yeah.
If Curry wins next year, like Stephen A. decided to scream about in First Take Today, he says they're not going away. They're going to win back-to-back next year, which is possible, but I'm not going to guarantee any team is going to win next year because we saw how many injuries happen every year. Stuff changes year to year. I mean, most people did not think the Warriors were going to win the championship coming into the year. People were looking at the Brooklyn Nets and their big 3 when they still had James Harden and Kyrie Irving was allowed to play games, but that rule quickly changed. The Milwaukee Bucks, the defending champs, I mean, most people thought they could come out of the East again. But we saw Middleton go down after the first round, and they just couldn't recover. They were not able to win Game 7 at Boston. And the Heat, they didn't make it far. A lot of people thought they could maybe make the championship. They lost in Game 7 at home to Boston. And teams like the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, I mean, yeah, these were decent teams, but I mean, a lot of people thought the Warriors weren't. I mean, a lot of people thought the Suns were going to eventually make the finals, and they lost in the second round to Luka and the Mavs. So just, incredible season, incredible story. But back to the Curry Magic thing for a second. I mean, he probably needs to win next year and another Finals MVP. If he wants to maybe move the needle a little bit more, then we could talk about that. But with less rings and less accolades in every category, I don't see how we can pin Curry a 1-to-1 ratio with Magic Johnson just yet.
Yeah, I don't understand. It seemed like people wanted to separate greatness from skill, which is an understandable thing to do. But I just think Magic is better at both. I don't think it's a conversation with that. Do you think Curry is more skilled?
I mean, I don't know about skill, but I feel he's definitely a better offensive player, probably. I mean, with his scoring and shooting ability, Magic never had that. Obviously, Magic was a different player. It's a hard comparison because he was more of a playmaker. But the game, it's so hard to compare because Magic played in the 80s. Every point guard was traditional pass first. Now Curry plays an era where it's so fast paced, and you gotta shoot the ball if you're a guard if you want to win. You have to score a lot. You have to shoot a lot of threes. It's so hard to compare people from playing 40 years ago to today, but I feel like they're both 1A and 1B as the best point guards of all time. I think that's definitely fair to say, and that was the case probably before this series even started. So,
yeah. I mean, on my list, Magic was the best point guard, and Curry was the second highest ranked point guard. So, I mean, that doesn't change anything after this win for me.
Yeah, usually teams with a great point guard don't always win the championship. I mean, think about the teams that have won the championships over the years. I mean, besides Curry, usually the best player is a wing, like Kawhi, LeBron, or like a big man like Tim Duncan, Shaq, you know. I mean, Curry, Zeke, and Magic, I mean, the three greatest point guards, those were the three game-changing point guards that were able to will their teams to championships. So just so impressive that we got to see one of the greatest point guards ever and the greatest shooter of all time play in our era where we were growing up to watch him play every day.
I did move Curry up in my list after this win, after the Finals MVP. He performed great in the two most important games of the series, 43 and 10 in the last game in Boston to go home, Game 4, and then 34-7-7 in the closeout game to win the championship. I moved him up from 12 to 11 on my list. I still don't have him in the top 10, which is, I mean, it's close. I don't know who you're taking out of the top 10. That's the thing. We went over it before already. I just feel like the 10 players I have in the top 10 are the 10 best.
Yeah, maybe you could argue him against Larry Bird. I'm looking at Larry Bird's stats right now and everything. So Bird has 10 times he made the All-NBA. How many does Curry have in total?
He's 8 total.
So 2 away. Bird has 1 more MVP. Curry has 4 more championships. But Bird has 1 more Finals MVP.
Curry does not have 4 more championships than Bird.
I mean 4 championships total compared to 3 for Bird.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's not Robert Horry, sorry. 2 Finals MVPs for Bird. So if Curry wins next year, I think it's definitely fair to say he's better than Larry Bird all time and put him in the top 10. Because then you could also argue him against Kobe. Because Kobe's 5 rings, 2 Finals MVPs. Curry will have more MVPs than Kobe. So if Curry really wants to be a top 8 player of all time, he has to win one more time before his career is over.
I wonder if we look at him versus Shaq.
They're tied in
how
rings.
How it stacks up. Because I have Shaq high on my list. I have him like 6th. So they're tied in championships with 4. Shaq played so far 6 more seasons than Curry, so he'll close the gap there. Shaq made 15 All-Star teams compared to 8. Curry has 1 more MVP, 14 All-NBA, 2 more rings, or no, 2 more Finals MVPs. I mean,
yeah. Less MVPs.
Shaq
though.
has
Only
like all
1 for
defensive
1.
selections.
Yeah.
Shaq won Rookie of the Year. I think Shaq is better based on
I think Shaq's better too.
accomplishments.
He also was the most dominant player in the league for like his prime. Like for about 6 years, he was like by far head and shoulders above everybody. I mean, 3 straight Finals MVPs. I mean, Curry, obviously they won 3 titles in 5 years to start out the dynasty, but Shaq won 3 straight. Clearly is the best player in the world, averaging like 35 and 10 every series. Yeah,
and you have to think about with Curry's career, like as much as it pains me to say this, like he has half his career where he wasn't even an all-star.
I know,
he wasn't
exactly.
even
His first
considered
7 years,
top
nobody
player.
cared about him. Yeah.
Right. So he's been unbelievable these last 7. I mean, he's been one of the best players in the NBA. But that first half of his career, he just wasn't even. Well, it wasn't even an all-star. It's pretty much the bare minimum to be considered a good player.
Yeah, it's not like he was
Make the
amazing
All-Star
out the
team.
gate like Luka or D Rose or these guys winning MVPs or being great players from day one. I mean, Curry struggled with the ankle injuries early on in his career. He really didn't break out until 2013. I mean, I never could have foreseen this career when I started watching him in 2013, 2014. I don't think anyone saw this coming. I don't think anyone saw two MVPs, 4 championships later, a dynasty. I mean, LeBron and KD were the 2 best players, but then Curry swooped in and entered that conversation in 2015 where it was really him against LeBron as the 2 best players in the world. And then obviously the 73-9 season, and everything is history after that. But just an incredible career for Curry. I mean, the perseverance. He's not the biggest guy on the court. He wasn't even recruited highly out of high school. He went to Davidson, a small school. Virginia Tech didn't even offer him, even though his father played for them. Tore it up in the tournament. Not even a top 5 pick. The 7th pick, one pick away from our Knicks. Maybe the Knicks would have been the life changing. I don't know if he would have won 4 championships with our team, but and then obviously the ankle injury struggled early on in his career. I mean, Blake Griffin was the first pick. Blake Griffin really was the better player in that draft class, but then Curry just exploded really when Mark Jackson took over, and then obviously Kerr came in and he became the system, and he kind of changed the way basketball is played forever. How the Warriors, with all their motion offense, shooting threes. Charles Barkley, remember, used to say, Will, jump shooting teams can't win the championship. Well, guess what? Now you have to be able to jump shooting. Yeah, think about it. I mean, every era before this was behind the play in the paint with your back to the basket with a big center. Always got to have slashers. But now Curry opened up the game for so many other players, and now like everyone has to be good at shooting, or you're not gonna be able to play in the NBA today. Now you'll have to hit threes to win a championship.
Yeah, that's another aspect of his legacy, right? Like the way he completely changed the game. That's an argument that people will use to boost him up, which is fair. And he's one of the most impactful players of all time, definitely in the top 5. So I think that adds something to putting him within the top 10.
Yeah, I saw some stat for the finals this year. They had a 115 offensive rating with Steph on the floor, only 88 with off, and these were obviously points per 100 possessions. So that was from StatMuse saying he is the system, which is true. I mean, you have to pay so much attention to him. They were double teaming him as soon as he crossed half court, trying to trap him, which leaves guys like Wiggins, Draymond, all these guys open. I mean, it's just so hard because his conditioning is. I don't think anyone talks about his conditioning enough. How much he runs around. I mean, he doesn't ever sit in one spot. He's always running side to side, moving around, trying to get open threes, and all he needs is a split second, and he's gonna shoot a 3 in your face and make it. We've never seen anyone like it, and we probably won't see anyone like this ever again.
Yeah, there's some weird stats coming out from this finals. Like the last 5 finals MVPs are also the last 5 All-Star MVPs. Like that was crazy when I saw that.
Yeah, those are
so that's like Curry, Giannis,
Durant, LeBron, and Kawhi.
Durant, Kawhi, LeBron, or Kawhi, Durant, LeBron.
I mean, think about it. Those have been the 5 best players in the league the past like 6 years. If you think about it, they all have championships.
Yeah. But I mean, winning All-Star Game MVP is so random. Like it's just not. You don't have to be good.
It's usually a good player though. It's usually like a superstar that wins it.
Right, but I mean,
like Chris Middleton's not going to win finals.
Didn't AD win All-Star Game MVP? Like you can have a player like that that's just not going to make the finals. But 5 years in a row, not only has the team that got All-Star MVP, the player won Finals MVP also, but the team like made the finals and made a run and everything. Like everything that has to happen for that to work. I just feel like that's a crazy trend.
And they've all been drafted by Team LeBron, so he knows what's up. He drafts the better team
Team LeBron
every time.
Clears every draft. I mean, whoever drafts against him is an idiot.
Yeah, that's funny, but just interesting. And Bill Simmons was trying to claim on his podcast last night that the Warriors aren't really a dynasty, and his friend Joe House was pushing back on that. because he's like, they're not like the Celtics or Lakers where they had like 8-year runs. I mean, the Warriors.
This is an 8-year run.
I know, he was like, I don't know what he was trying to say. Like the Warriors, because he was complaining how didn't make the playoffs for 2 years and how those teams were constantly in the playoffs, which is true. That's a fair point, but they're definitely. I still label them as a dynasty. I think it's more impressive that they were out for 2 years and then came back and won with a different version of their team. Like it's not like it ended.
I mean, Curry missed like 70% of a season. Clay was down. That's why they missed 2 years. It's not like they were bad.
No, I know. And Wiggins wasn't even on the team those years either. But it's just interesting how they like kind of revived their dynasty in the middle of it. But the Warriors owner did say he thought it was like he thought it was gonna be like a 10-year run. Like he was never nervous even during the years they were worst in the league with all the injuries and stuff. He thought, I mean, they were set for 10 years. And credit to Bob Myers, probably the best GM in basketball. I mean, think about it. We always say tanking. We used to love, tanking works. Like, you need a tank to get a good player. But the Warriors never tanked, and Curry was the 7th pick.
Well, they did, kind of. They did once.
Well, I guess.
But it didn't do it.
Wiseman didn't play.
It didn't do anything.
Yeah, but all the moves they made. I mean, think about it. Curry was the 7th pick. Not everyone was taking a chance on him in the top 5. Clay out of Washington State was the 11th pick. I didn't even know who Clay was when he was drafted, and then he becomes probably a top 3 shooter of all time and a second option for Curry. The Splash Bros are born. Draymond was the 35th pick. I mean, say what you want about Draymond and his antics off the court, and if you really think he's an all-time great, but he's been one of the most impactful players, and they're maybe their second most important player besides Curry of this dynasty, and his attitude in the locker room and everything. He was a second-round pick. Obviously, they had deloading for like a year where they got the sign trade. They got Durant. But they turned Russell into another ass in Wiggins, who was Curry's second option in this finals, and he played out of his mind on defense. The Warriors made every right move. Obviously, James Wiseman hasn't worked out yet. Maybe they should have taken LaMelo Ball, but they drafted Jordan Poole 29th in the first round a few years ago, and he almost won Most Improved Player. He could be a future All-Star. Why can't he? Like, every move Bob Myers has made has been on the money. And they deserve this. I mean, when you have stability, you have an unselfish superstar. You have Steve Kerr, who's won championships as a player, can bring that pedigree to coaching and sort of made the rotations right and made the offense better with Steph. It's just an incredible results you can get from it when you have a great organization, top to bottom.
Yeah, we got to really get into this Wiggins, everything to do with Wiggins, because this all started when Kevin Durant left the Golden State Warriors. He decided that because he liked Bob Myers that they were going to orchestrate some sort of sign and trade. So they trade him for Russell to the Nets. They deal with Russell for the 2 years. They don't do anything.
Or for a year, and then Curry got hurt, and then they were terrible. That was 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they trade him for Wiggins, as you just outlined. But, I mean, this never happens if Kevin Durant just leaves. He could have just left.
He could have left. Yeah, people were talking about that. So Kevin Durant's a double loser of the Warriors winning the championship because he could have denied them and not from getting Wiggins. He gifted
them their second most important player.
Pretty much. And now he gets more backlash because the Warriors won without Kevin Durant 2 titles now. His legacy gets diminished a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll always remember talking about who's more important to the Warriors, KD or Curry. And I'm right. It is Curry, obviously.
He's going to be on the team forever. And yeah, the ship doesn't go without him. Kevin Durant would not have any championships if he didn't join the Warriors, probably.
Yeah. And then Wiggins in this series, you picked him as your X factor, which is really smart because for 5 games in this series, the Warriors held the Celtics to under 100 points, which is it's the key to them winning. Their defense really was the reason why they won. They only scored above 115
in game 1.
Yeah, they never scored above 110 and won. So they were able to hold Boston to under 100 multiple times at home, in Boston's home, and get the wins. And really, when you look at this Warriors defense, I mean, who's a defender on this team other than Wiggins? I mean, obviously Draymond, but he wasn't even on the court at the end of the game multiple times. They had to take him off the court because of certain reasons. Clay I mean, sure, he's known as a 3-and-D player, but he's definitely slowed down and is a step slow now. Gary Payton, I guess, is a nice scrappy player, but he didn't get that many minutes in certain games of this series. And who else is a defender besides those guys? I mean, really no one. Wiggins is far and away their best defender at this point.
Yeah,
and he also contributed offensively. He had 25 points multiple times. The rebounding was amazing in this series. He really was the X factor. Not the Finals MVP, but truly the X factor, which is a great pick by you.
Yeah, I mean, I said, can he slow down Tatum? And he did just that. I mean, he took his lunch the last couple of games. Tatum struggled offensively. He only scored 13 in Game 6, down 3-2. Tatum came through against Milwaukee, but not against Andrew Wiggins on an island against the Warriors team.
That's hilarious.
And good for Wiggins. I mean, think about it. He was the first pick. He had some decent years in Minnesota. Obviously, a terrible organization. They're a terrible team. Never really found a groove. And I guess, I mean, you do expect the first pick to be a superstar, but I guess he really didn't have that ability. He didn't really care about basketball that much then, it seemed like. But I'm happy for him that he was able to contribute in a big way on a championship team and sort of revitalize his career into a really good second or third option on a championship team and an excellent defender, I mean, and rebounder, which he always had the talent and athleticism to do. But the Warriors finally, I mean, another point to great organization, they were able to unlock all of his abilities, and he performed well for them, so good for him.
Yeah, I wonder what this means for like the pairing of the first overall pick with a certain organization. Because has there ever been a first overall pick that has been able to overcome a terrible organization that was before
LeBron.
that was there before them? LeBron, okay. Let's just go down the list. I mean, Cade is up in the air. He's a part of a terrible organization for the last 20 years. So that's that. Anthony Edwards, I mean, he's pretty good on the T-Wolves, and they're a terrible organization. But both of those guys are unproven. Zion, the Pelicans are too new to be considered terrible, but
AD couldn't overcome it. He left.
Yeah. Ayton, I mean, they've already made the finals. The Suns aren't that bad. Fultz, the Sixers are good, and he was just a mistake.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons was a mistake. Towns is good on the T-Wolves, and they're a bad organization. And then you get Cleveland.
Win a championship.
They have back-to-back number one picks with Wiggins and Bennett on the Cavs. And both of them were failures for them.
What other teams? I mean, 08, who was the first pick in 08? D Rose.
Right? The Bulls, I mean, they have MJ in their history. Blake Griffin on the Clippers. I mean, that's a terrible organization where he performed well.
Yeah, no championships, though. Why do I feel like Anthony Edwards is going to have the same career path as Andrew Wiggins? They're both the first pick of Minnesota.
He's already better in this time frame.
Are you think Anthony Edwards is better than Andrew Wiggins right now?
Maybe not now, but in the first 2 years of his career, he's better.
Oh, probably. I mean, but I feel like they're both just gonna score and not really do that much otherwise, and they're gonna be on a different team in 6 years and maybe play for a championship. I feel like that's gonna happen. Unless Anthony can actually prove he's that guy, which Wiggins was able to not able to do. But Minnesota is a pretty good coach in Chris Finch, which I did talk about in a YouTube video months ago. But they definitely have something brewing in Minnesota. They made the playoffs. And yeah, I wouldn't say they're as bad as they were when Wiggins first started. But it's just going to be interesting to see how his career pans out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the pairing of a number one pick or a high draft pick with a great organization just always works out better, which is not so illogical to think about. I mean, it's pretty obvious that'd be smart, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just it really lends itself to the idea that you don't have to give up on these players that are terrible, even if they were high draft picks. If you're a great organization, you can revive top players like this.
That's what the Warriors do. That's what a lot of people do. That's what the Yankees are doing right now in baseball. Jameson Taillon, I mean, not great for most of his career, and look how he's pitching now. I mean, nobody thought he would be this good this year. So they find guys off the street, that had high pedigrees coming into the league just didn't pan out, and they make them better, maximize their potential.
Let's move on. Okay, I want to talk about the Celtics, but I mean the Warriors. They were being very petty after their win. A lot of talk. Did you see that clip of Curry? He held up like the 0 rings, imitating Kendrick Perkins and the ESPN people who said that they would never make the finals again.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Clay also. I want to play this audio clip of Clay after the game. Jaren Jackson in the regular season tweeted strength in numbers after
the
they
Grizzlies
beat the
them.
Warriors in the regular season, which is, I mean, I don't know what that means. I guess Jaren and the Grizzlies, they had a great regular season. They were the 2nd seed, so they were feeling themselves after that win.
Warriors knocked them out in the playoffs, though.
The Warriors knocked them out, and they get their victory. Here's Clay talking about the tweet.
There was this one player on the Grizzlies who tweeted strength in numbers after they beat us in the regular season, and it pissed me off so much. I can't wait to retweet that thing. Freaking bum. I had to watch that. I'm just like, this freaking clown. Okay. Sorry. That memory just popped up.
So there's Clay. I mean, yeah, they're having fun with it. I mean, when you win, you get to make fun of the rest of the league,
LeBron,
I guess.
I thought this was so interesting. LeBron posted something of Draymond winning the championship. Why? I didn't know he's friends with Draymond.
Really? No, they are friends.
Draymond.
They are.
He was like celebrating Draymond winning, of all people. Not even
know.
Curry. It's kind of.
Well, LeBron has been teasing about playing for the Warriors like so often too. He wants to be there so bad.
KD did join before him. But back to the Celtics, I feel like we should talk about the play of Jayson Tatum in this series. He was your X factor. Could he play consistently? And he answered that no, he could not. He had 13 points in an elimination game. He averaged 22, 7 and 7, 36% from the 45 from 3 in 2-point range. He was awful, Will, and he struggled a ton this series. Against Wiggins took his lunch, even when he was matched up on Draymond. It didn't go so well. I can't believe, I'm so glad the Celtics lost, because I don't have to hear people say, oh, he's a top 5 player, he won the championship. Because the top 5 player in the league would not shoot below 40% in the finals, averaging 22 points. That is disgusting. That is way below his regular season average. I mean, this is who me and you knew, this is who Jayson Tatum really is. Player. He's a good player, but he's not a great player.
Yeah, the performance of Tatum was not good in this series, just straight up. I knew he had to be consistent for them to win games. He performed better at the beginning of the series than he did towards the end. And it goes to show that, it's going to take time for a player like Tatum to perform on the biggest stage. I mean, he was outstanding in the Brooklyn series. He was amazing against the Bucks in certain games, and he was amazing at certain points throughout this playoffs. He just never put it together for multiple consecutive games. I mean, when you look at Curry, like, he had a really bad, Game 5? I mean, that was by far his worst game. That was one of the worst games of his career. Not making a
no
three.
threes.
Yeah, so when that happens to a player like Curry, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? That's a ridiculous performance.
That's an anomaly, yeah.
But it's only once. It's not going to be like, okay, here
Twice
he is again.
Or 3 times,
performing terribly. You know what you're going to get from Curry every game. That goes for all the best players in the NBA. When they play bad, it's a shock. It's unbelievable. When Jayson Tatum plays bad, you're just like, here we go again. Here's one game he's on, one game he's off. That's been the problem so far with Jayson Tatum throughout this playoff run. So in order going forward and throughout his career, he's only 24. He'll be there again. He's going to have 24. To perform well and perform consistently to be considered a top 10 player or a top 5 player. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I have another disgusting stat from him in the finals. He shot 65% from the free throw line. I mean, come on. If you're obviously
like RJ Barrett.
You're not making your jumpers, can you at least make your free throws? They're free throws. Like, he was an 85% free throw shooter in the regular season. That's a 20% decrease. he folded on the biggest stage clearly, and he actually a game in the finals above 30 points. I was looking into this earlier. Will, would you say Devin Booker's a better player than him, just off the top of your head, without looking at any stats or anything?
Okay, do we want to do our top 10 players lists now and reveal
we'll get
them?
into that. We'll get into that. Just answer my question.
Okay,
first.
because I mean, I'll spoil it. At number 10, I put Devin Booker originally and changed it to Jayson Tatum.
I have Devin Booker at 10.
Okay, so we could talk about that. But okay, what swayed you?
So I was looking. Obviously, I just read off Tatum's final stats. So I was looking. I was like, huh, Tatum was Booker this bad last year when they lost? And no, he averaged 28 or with back-to-back 40-point games in the finals, and another 31-point game in Game 2 while shooting 45% from the field. That's good. Obviously, 27% from 3, but Booker's not really known as a shooter. Not a great one. He's a good one. 87% from the line, so that kind of made me think I feel like Devin Booker might be a better player than Jayson Tatum moving forward. I mean, we just saw them both play in the finals against great defensive teams back-to-back years, and Booker clearly out him in every way possible, it looks like. Even though he's a little older, I get that. Maybe you could Suns are better than the Celtics, but still, I mean, 28 points per game. Devin Booker showed up. They lost that series because they couldn't guard Giannis. That's pretty much what happened.
The one thing I think that puts him over Booker for me is that Booker needed Chris Paul to come in and make his team great. He wasn't able to do that beforehand. Jayson Tatum is the best player on his team, is the leader of his team, has been he's been in the East Finals before this.
That's true.
I mean,
but the Celtics a better organization.
No doubt the Celtics are a good organization, a good team. Jaylen Brown, is a great second player for him to have. They're a great team more than just being carried by Jayson Tatum. But I just think the fact that Tatum has been the leader and the best player on his team, and Devin Booker needed the help from Chris Paul.
Team.
Yeah, you could say he's the best, but
all right, but hold on a second.
He wouldn't be making the finals without Chris Paul. There's no way.
Oh, but you could say the same thing. Would the Celtics make the finals without Jaylen Brown? Because Jaylen Brown's probably better than CP3 at this point. I mean, Jaylen Brown played better than Tatum in this finals. I was more honestly, when I was watching every game, Jaylen Brown got the ball driving at a hoop than I was with Tatum. More scared with Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
I don't know. It's an interesting comparison because I originally thought Tatum was before I looked this up, and I was like, oh, maybe for a playoff series, maybe I actually would take Devin Booker over playoff series if I had to pick. I don't know. It's interesting, though. They're both in the same tier. I mean, we can agree on that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so it was a long NBA season. We saw a lot of crazy things happen, but me and Will are gonna give our top 10 players after the 2022 season. And Will, why don't you start off counting down from 10 to 1?
All right. At number 1, I have Giannis. At number 2, I have Jokic. Number 3, Steph Curry. 4, Kevin Durant. 5, Luka. 6, LeBron. 7, Embiid. 8, Kawhi. 9, Jimmy Butler. And 10, Jayson Tatum. I had Devin Booker at 10. I changed it to Tatum after going back and forth about it. That's probably the only one I don't have conviction about. The rest of it, I'm pretty confident are where they should be.
The way I did from yours, so I obviously did it based on the 2022 season. I did not have Kawhi this year, so I didn't think it was fair to put him above guys that actually play in the... Just a disclaimer before I read my list, so don't get mad in the comments if you guys think Kawhi's obviously better than some of these guys. Well, I said count down from 10 to 1. You did 1 to 10. That's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna surprise you. 10 to 1. Number 10, Devin Booker. First Tatum, number 9. Jimmy Butler, number 8. Number 7, Joel Embiid. Number 6, Kevin Durant. Number 5, Number 4, Luka Doncic. Number 3, the MVP, Nikola Jokic. Number 2, Giannis. And that means that Steph Curry has reclaimed his #1 spot
Come
in the world after 2022
my
season, winning Finals MVP, West Finals MVP, All-Star Game MVP all in the same year with 43 and 10, 44 and 45% from 3 in the series in the close. Steph Curry, player in the world right now after the 2020, rightfully so.
I mean, when you read off all those things, it does seem like this was his year, really, for sure.
It was his year.
I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I think
Giannis.
I'm the Curry guy. I'm the Curry guy on the show. I don't know what you're doing here, putting him at #1. That just seems
He's
crazy.
my #1 player.
I don't know. I just think Giannis.
Nobody thought this team was gonna be here, and he did it with his back against the wall.
Okay. I mean, it's fair. It's debatable. I just think
Definitely
Giannis is in his
debatable.
prime. He
Long
would have
term,
made the
yes,
finals
Giannis
if his second best player didn't get hurt.
happened.
Jokic won MVP. I mean, where did you have him again?
Yeah. I had him at #3 after Giannis.
Okay.
He was a top 3 player for me.
Yeah. And also, another nonsense thing you did is you said that Devin Booker was better than Tatum, and then you put Tatum at 9.
Well, okay,
What is that?
because Booker did. Technically, I'd rather have Booker in a playoff series, but based off the 2022 season, Tatum made the finals, and Devin Booker lost by 40 at home in Game 7. So I was gonna get that point thrown at me if I had Booker ahead of Tatum by you. So I just had Booker at 10. But into next year, we'll have different rankings coming into the 2023 season.
Yeah, see,
This
we
is my
can't do this. This is prisoner of the moment stuff to do it based off one season. If we're doing it based off one season, LeBron doesn't make the top 10. Even though he had a great year, he was injured
Come
half
on,
the
yes
year.
he does. Oh, come on, yes he does. He averaged He was still second team All NBA.
He was third team.
Oh,
but-
third team. Okay. Well, I don't know. I had all the guys that made the first team in my top 10. I thought that was fair after this season. I had no Kawhi. I really did it
so
based
did
on
I.
this season. At least, you could say whatever you want. I mean, LeBron or KD might be better than him, or even, but based off this season, what I saw with my own eyes, it was Steph Curry's year. Clearly,
I don't know. I feel like this is what we have to combat. We have to combat the prisoner of the moment people that think Curry is better than Magic. We have to combat the people that think Tatum is top 5. We are anti-prisoner of the moment show here.
I know, but I had to go prisoner in the moment with Curry here. What do you think of my other players? Do you think Jimmy Butler fair to put at 8?
I mean, I put him at 9, so it's not that different. Sure.
Yeah, I had him.
I think Kawhi is better than him still. I mean, he was injured,
obviously, but I said I had no Kawhi. If I had Kawhi, it would be different, but because I would have Kawhi ahead of Embiid probably.
Really?
The 6th spot. Or 7th spot, actually, I guess. Then everyone would move down one. So Tatum wouldn't be top 10 for me if I redid the list, probably.
You would have Kawhi over Embiid?
Yeah. Well, Kawhi's just better. He won a championship, too. Embiid's never made a conference finals. If we're not doing prisoner of the moment. I know Embiid just had a crazy
I mean, this is the
season,
past
but
3 years. Embiid
did
almost
mine-
won MVP this year.
I know, but I based mine off 2022.
Yeah, so Embiid had arguably the second best season of 2022.
Yeah, but he's not the second best player in the
terms of
league.
stats in
neither of
regular
us did
season.
that. Well, if we're gonna go like that, then he should be the second best player on your list. But we're not prisoner of the moment.
Well, you are, apparently.
Yeah, maybe, but just putting Curry at 1. Curry's at minimum top now.
Yeah,
Where'd you
I
have
don't
on your
know.
list?
Curry? I had Curry at 3.
Yeah, see, at minimum he should be top 3. I just put him at 1. Just depends on the day.
Yeah, see, we can't be doing this. It depends on the day.
It does, but first Finals MVP, man, averaging 31, 6 and 5, 45% from 3. You don't see that happen.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you have an NNN for today's show?
I actually did not make an NNN.
Okay, I mean, we did skip it last episode. I didn't know if you wanted to bring it back.
I was, but I thought we would have enough basketball to talk about Jimmy Butler being better than Tatum and Booker. I looked at his final stats. Thought it's a fair. All three of them played between Tatum, Butler, and Booker. They all played 6 finals games, and Jimmy Butler averaged 26, 10, and 8 in the NBA in 2020. He had a 40-point triple-double, and a 35-point triple-double, 55% from the field, 88% from the free throw line. That is why he's more clutch and better than Tatum and Booker, in my opinion. I mean, Jimmy, with no help, willed them the game 7. He had the 45-point game in Boston. He outplayed Tatum all series, so I can't say Tatum's better than him, really. Celtics just had the better team. I mean, who was Jimmy Butler's second option, really? I mean, Bam's fine, but Jaylen Brown's better than him. And Lowry was playing on one leg, and he's fat and old, so the Celtics clearly had the better team. If Jimmy Butler gets Donovan Mitchell, maybe they can win the championship next year. Who knows?
He's the anti-Tatum. I mean, he's very consistent. He's a better defender.
Good shooter, but not as much less talent, definitely, but just play.
Yeah, shout out to Jimmy. I mean, poor Embiid. Embiid could have played with. I mean, imagine. Look at that Sixers team that had. Had Jimmy and Tobias in them.
They could have had Jimmy. I guess it would have been Jimmy, Ben Simmons, and Embiid technically, but Jimmy would have made Ben Simmons cry and get traded.
Yeah,
but Jimmy and Embiid, man, they could have went to the finals. They could have ran the East. Both of them are fantastic players.
Yeah, poor Sixers. They could have had 2 top 10 players. Instead, they have James Harden.
Yeah, he's not. He's not either our top 10s. That's kind of funny.
Well, yeah, because he's not good anymore.
Yeah, where is he realistically in the NBA right now? Like 20th best player?
No, he's probably 15.
Donovan
Let's expand the list. So on my list, I would have to add Devin Booker. I would have to add Trae Young.
Yeah, I have to add Trae Young. Oh, Donovan Mitchell, I guess, isn't that tier?
No, Donovan Mitchell's not top 15.
Why not? All right, he's maybe just outside.
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, is he better than James Harden?
I don't know. I don't really want either of them on my team right now.
Okay.
Oh, Dame.
Is he better than James Harden? I guess so.
Yeah, he didn't play this year really, but I mean, I expect him to be better next year. It's
That's it. Okay, so at worst, he's like 16.
Yeah. I don't think James Harden could have played in this series if he was in the finals. Like I think
or what
he
about
scored like 8.
You're a Ja hater. You were saying that Zion's better than him. Is Ja better than James Harden?
Oh yeah, right now definitely. I think James Harden will get. I don't think James Harden will be playable if he play in the NBA Finals right now. I think about it, how fast and how good these defensive teams were. Like I think he would score like 10 points a game and get just ran off the floor defensively.
Well, that's what he did in the playoffs already.
Exactly.
Like
so we already saw it. Maybe I don't think. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I'd rather have Chris Middleton than James Harden right now, probably.
I guess if you're building a championship team, I guess you should.
Hard legs unless he shows something next year.
Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he's 20th. Wow, that might be the biggest 1 year fall off
ever
of all time.
I've seen. Yeah.
Going from like literally in February being a consensus like top 7 player.
Yeah.
Then, like
I don't know what happened. He must have been playing hurt or something.
20th.
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, that's just weird. DeRozan had a better year than him too. He had 28 points per game.
All NBA team. Just crazy. Did you see the tweet where Magic Johnson said that Steve Kerr's on Rushmore for coaches, but he named 5 coaches. And everybody was like, again, and just saying, Magic, there's only supposed to be 4. He said
I didn't
it was
see this. What? Who did
Magic's.
he put?
Let me find it. I think it was Red Auerbach, Pat Riley, Phil, Popovich, yeah, and then it was Steve Kerr or something as the 5th. Everybody's like, Magic, you're forgetting.
Wait, who did he forget?
No, like, you're forgetting, there's only supposed to be 4. He named 5.
Well, you only named 4. I gotta know who the 5th coach is then.
It was Kerr.
So that's top 5. That's 5th.
Yeah, there was only 4 on Mount Rushmore, right?
Oh, I thought you said top 5 coaches of all time.
No, yeah, Mount
And that was his
Rushmore.
5th.
You're making
Oh,
me
yeah, Mount
question
Rushmore is
myself.
4.
Yeah, it's only 4 servers.
No,
Like,
you're right.
Magic, you're wrong. Okay, so here it is. He said he's on the Mount Rushmore with Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach, and Popovich.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And Magic, another great tweet from Magic. He said Steph became the 7th best player in NBA. Not the 7th best. The 7th player in NBA history to win 4 championships and multiple MVP awards! Exclamation point. He joins LeBron, Michael, Tim Duncan, Kareem, Bill Russell, and some other guy that wore number 32 for the Showtime Lakers.
Tweet that.
Yeah, Magic is better than him. That's
Obviously.
proof.
And he said, congratulations to the Golden State owners, Joe Lacob, and my good friend, business partner, Peter Guber, on winning the NBA championship. His tweets are just golden.
Tweet that.
Yeah, Magic's a funny personality. Stephen A was going off too about how he in October said the Warriors were going to win the championship.
I've been saying it since January to people.
That's true.
I thought they were gonna win. Everybody made fun of the Warriors, said like, "Oh, they're done." Well, guess what? They got through it all. I never really was nervous in any playoff series. Like, I felt that way. I think every other year we felt that way at some points in some series, but I just felt like they were gonna win automatically, and they did every series in like 5 or 6 games. They played
in
shitty.
In the West, they never really played anybody great.
Yeah, they were down. They played bad in Memphis. They played shitty in some games in that, but they still won. The Celtics, they were down 2-1, but after that, they pretty much dominated them. I mean, they dominated the Celtics 5 games, if you think about it. They just had that one quarter where the Celtics hit every 3 in game 1. The Warriors were winning that game the whole way. So the Warriors really won 5 out of 6 games against the Celtics if you don't count that one quarter. But they were their team the whole time. And as I said earlier, you're not going to be able to beat the Warriors only scoring 100 points. And the Celtics did that. They scored less than 100 points in like every game. So I don't know how you're going to beat them. Their half-court offense got exposed.
All right, I think that's going to do it for episode 6, not 5, of the Bona Fide Scrubs. Our finals reaction. Our last real heavy NBA show
Actually,
of
maybe
this season. I know the draft is coming.
until the draft. Yep.
So we'll get into that, but this will be the last time the NBA will carry a whole episode. So thank you for listening to this show. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Listen on Apple or Spotify. We have the video on Spotify. If you're there, you can watch it like Rogan. And that'll do it. So peace.
Peace. All right, that was pretty good. I did not have an